I'm 38 years old, hold a master's degree, and consider myself a high-quality single woman. I'd like to share a bit about myself, and maybe you can help me figure out what kind of man might be the right match for me. I'm 5 feet 6 inches tall, weigh 135 pounds, and earn a monthly salary of 8,000 yuan. I enjoy shopping, makeup, and indulging in luxury goods. I'm someone who loves beauty and fashion. I also like places like nightclubs, bars, and karaoke lounges. These are just part of my lifestyle, and honestly, I see myself as an ordinary woman. I like spending money and believe life shouldn't just be about meeting basic needs. Each day should feel special and meaningful. I have a younger brother, and to be honest, I'm not exactly sure where I stand in terms of social class. Right now, I feel pretty lost. Deep down, I still hope to meet a wealthy man. Someone like a fish that slipped through the net, waiting for me to reel them in. I've held on to this hope for a while. I just can't believe that, in a society full of wealthy men, not a single one would be interested in me, a 38-year-old single woman. Am I really destined to spend the rest of my life alone? I truly want to find my ideal partner. My standards aren't that high. If someone genuinely cares about me, that's all I'd ask for. So, what kind of man do you think I should be looking for? Or is it that I don't deserve it? Don't deserve to get married or experience love again? That thought makes me even more confused. What should I do?
As a 36-year-old single woman, what kind of person would I most like to marry and build a life with? Today, I want to share my thoughts. These are purely my personal preferences and don't represent anyone else's views. Ideally, I'd like to meet someone close to my age. In terms of height, I'd prefer someone over 5 feet 11 inches. Not too short, so I can still wear heels comfortably. When it comes to work, stability is my top priority. Whether they're in a state-owned enterprise, a central enterprise, a government position, or any type of public sector role, it's all fine as long as the job is stable. I'm not concerned about how much they make since salaries in those types of jobs typically aren't very high anyway. As for looks, I'm not too picky, just as long as they're handsome. Personality-wise, I value someone who's straightforward, open, and just a regular, down-to-earth person. As for housing, it would be best if they owned a property. I'm not concerned whether there's a mortgage or not. As long as it's in Beijing, the location doesn't really matter. Owning a car is even less important to me. It's completely fine whether they have one or not. When it comes to marital status, my biggest hope is that they're divorced but without children. This is the type of person I most want to meet. Why? I feel that people who have been married before and those who haven't are in very different emotional and mental states. Someone who has experienced marriage is, in my view, better equipped to handle relationships. They're likely more empathetic, tolerant, and understanding. To put it bluntly, they've already been trained and prepared for a committed relationship. Beyond that, I really don't have many other requirements. I don't care about having a high education partner. If someone is too highly educated, they might have too many options anyway. I just want someone simple, someone ordinary, to share a quiet, normal life together.
Throughout my life, I have met many rich men. That's why I can't just casually marry someone. If I were to settle for just anyone, I'd rather not get married at all. I'm determined to find a rich man. Even if my parents kick me out, even if I'm currently living in a rented apartment, why should I compromise myself? Should I settle for someone who is ordinary? No, I won't do that. So, if I can't meet a rich man, I don't plan to get married in this lifetime. Even though I'm already 38 years old, I don't care. I feel that if I were to marry an ordinary man who has nothing, life after marriage would be even harder than hell. I truly don't want to live that kind of life. How should I put this? Nowadays, there are more men than women in China, so there's no fear of not being able to get married. Even at my age, I'll stick to my principles and do what I want to do. I'll marry the type of man I want to marry. In this lifetime, unless it's a wealthy heir, I won't marry someone poor or someone who has nothing. I won't have children with such a person or live an ordinary life. Why? Because I've already experienced enough of an ordinary life, and I'm truly afraid of it. I grew up in a family with average conditions. When I'd go out with classmates, their parents would give them hundreds or yuan to buy things or as pocket money. But I didn't have that. At most, I'd get 1 or 2 yuan. Sometimes, I'd watch others buy drinks while I had to bring water from home. I remember when I was in middle school, we'd eat pickled vegetables, salted fish, fermented tofu, or dried radish stir-fried with some cured meat. We'd pack these into glass jars, bringing 2 or 3 jars to school for the week. Those 2 or 3 jars would last me through the 5 school days. Sometimes, I'd trade food with classmates from wealthier families. They ate meals from the school cafeteria, but it was funny. Some of them, despite being from well-off families, had never tried our homemade rural food and thought it was delicious. Often, they'd give me their fresh cafeteria meals and ask to eat my homemade dishes instead. Many of them genuinely liked the pickled and preserved foods we brought from the countryside, such as fermented tofu, which paired perfectly with rice. They'd even say the cafeteria meals that cost a few yuan weren't as tasty as our homemade dishes. They'd rather trade their fresh food for our jarred food. I'd sometimes trade with them too. I wanted to eat fresh food once in a while, so I'd exchange my jarred food for theirs. That's how I spent my 3 years in middle school, trading food with classmates and trying to make the most of what we had.
I'm a 35-year-old professional seeking marriage online. No dowry required, just 3 simple conditions. If you meet them, we can talk. I wanted to share a bit about myself today. I'm 35 years old, originally from Hunan, and currently working in Shenzhen. My parents have been urging me to get married for years, but they've reached the point where they don't even nag me anymore, probably because they've started to lose hope. In the past, they introduced me to plenty of potential matches every year, but now no one even brings it up. Honestly, I'm starting to feel a little anxious myself. What really sparked my concerns, though, happened 2 years ago when I was back in my hometown. I don't know if you believe in Buddhism, but my maternal grandmother are devout Buddhists, and their beliefs have influenced me to some extent. While I was home, I came across a fortune teller, and out of curiosity about my future, I decided to have my fortune told. What he said has stuck with me ever since. He told me that my destined soulmate would appear when I turned 35. However, if I didn't get married at 35, I'd miss the chance entirely and would never marry in this lifetime. He also said my future would be filled with challenges and hardships if I didn't. His words felt so definitive, as if they were set in stone. At the time, I didn't take it too seriously. I just listened and moved on. But here I am, turning 35 this year, and I still haven't found the right person. What's worse is that the fortune teller's words keep replaying in my mind, making me genuinely anxious. Is my soulmate really supposed to show up this year? Where is he? Why is it that, even now, I don't even know what he looks like? If he doesn't appear soon, will I really end up spending the rest of my life alone? It's not that I don't have people pursuing me. There are some, but I just don't feel any spark. There's no chemistry, no connection, no attraction. I can't force myself to settle for someone I don't feel anything for. While I'm eager to get married, I'm not desperate enough to marry the wrong person. If I can't find someone who's truly right for me, I'd rather stay single. Marriage is not something I take lightly, and I won't compromise just for the sake of getting married. That's why I'm putting myself out here today, hoping to find someone who's truly suitable. I don't require a dowry, but I do have 3 conditions. If you meet them, we can meet and see if we're a match. The first condition, I can't do a long-distance marriage. My hometown is Hengyang, Hunan, so my future partner must also be from Hengyang. This way, it'll be easier to stay close to my parents. Since I work in Shenzhen, my partner must also have a stable, long-term job in Shenzhen. In a big city like this, owning a home is a must. It's just not acceptable otherwise. Additionally, there should also be a house back in our hometown small county. I don't think this is asking for too much. The second condition, he must be under 40 years old and at least 5 feet 11 inches tall. He should have a clean face, no acne, and his eyes shouldn't be too small. He also needs to take care of his appearance and hygiene. I'm not okay with someone who's sloppy or unkempt. Since I care about looks, I do have some standards in this area. He also needs to know how to cook and do housework. His monthly income should be at least 30,000 yuan. I make around 20,000 yuan a month myself, so I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for a higher income than mine. Shenzhen's cost of living is high, and while we'd be fine as a couple, if we decide to have kids in the future, I don't want my quality of life to drop because of marriage or children. The third condition, I will not give up my career just because we have children. I'm open to having kids, but there must be help with childcare. When I come home from work, I want to spend time with my children, but we can hire a nanny or have the man's parents help out. However, if his parents are helping, I don't want to live under the same roof with them. No matter how great someone's personality is, living together long term inevitably leads to conflicts. This is about maintaining family harmony. Oh, and one more thing, he can't be overly patriarchal. I can't stand men who cling to outdated ideas like the man works outside and the woman runs the home, or who think childcare and housework are solely a woman's responsibility. If a man has that mindset, it's an immediate no for me. I wouldn't even give him a second glance. I absolutely dislike that kind of man. Housework and raising kids should be shared responsibilities. A relationship should be built on understanding and mutual support. Don't come home acting like a king, lying around doing nothing. And please don't spend the whole day glued to your phone. Before bed, take time to talk to me, share your thoughts, and connect emotionally. Don't just ignore me to hang out with your buddies all the time. So, those are my 3 conditions. Do you think my expectations are unreasonable?